So based on Saturday and your frustrations that you showed us in the press afterwards, how do you look at the game now? Is it something that you put to the back of your mind and just move on, or is it something that you guys have to, take those negatives from and learn from?
I think, how I felt Saturday was after the game. It's always a little bit heightened, a little bit more emotional than you feel after you watch it and watch it properly and analyse it in real detail. I still feel that it was a fantastic performance. I still feel really frustrated we got nothing from it, and I still feel really disappointed by the goals we conceded. So, it was. After looking back on it, there's there's so many positives to take away, and there's also you can see it, everyone can see it. There's so much clarity in what we need to sort out, what we need to fix. That when we do that. We're going to win, and we're going to win well, and we're going to win more games than we lose. There's no doubt about it. I still feel that way. So I have to balance up the frustration with also the pride in watching a team perform that way away from home. A team that we haven't won yet, but I think if you're a neutral, you go there and watch that game, and someone says to you, one of these teams is not won a game yet, and sits at the foot of the table. I don't think anyone would have said it was us. So we need to keep improving. I said that all the way along. I said it was going to take time. It's proven to be the case. I think whenever you try and change anything culturally, performance, environment, standards, there's always a period in the messy middle, if you like. Last year we took off really quickly. We then were. I felt at that point we were sort of going through that period where teams were paying more respect and make it a lot more difficult. We were coming out of that and trying to work out ways to solve it. This year it's time. We just haven't had any time with the players. Almost 4 weeks of pre-season was not pointless, of course, because physically you're getting them ready. Tactically you're still getting stuff into them. But then we had, half of the team that would probably start in our strongest 11 not quite in the building yet, or not quite fit enough to train properly or perform properly. So we're still really early on in what we're doing. The fact that the guys can go and perform that well this early on gives me a huge amount of confidence and belief in what we're doing. They're fully committed to what we're trying to do, and they're as frustrated as me after the game. There's no doubt about it. They feel they've let themselves down because you can't play that well every week. You can't dominate games apart from Crewe and not win. It becomes really frustrating. So they're ready. We're ready to win. We learn from every game. We then plan for the next one. We analysed it yesterday, Monday, and now it's all about Saturday and making sure we put in another top performance, but we make sure we win the game, which is the most important thing.
Given the way that you are playing and that you have played in the last few weeks, do you think anything needs to fundamentally change, or is it just a mindset thing at the moment?
No. I said to you after the game, fundamentally, structurally, tactically, it's not just a subjective opinion. It's backed up by, every stat that's going. I said to you before, I'm not driven by stats at all, but sometimes you have to look at them because I feel a certain way about games when I'm watching them, when I'm involved in it, and it's really different when you're not at the stadium. So when you're watching on iFollow and stuff, it's different. The fans would feel different about some of our performances, I'm sure, if they're watching it there and then. The Crewe one, I'm sure they'd feel the same way as I did about it. But other than that, we've played well. We've played really well. We've missed a couple of bits. We know that. We haven't converted enough of our chances. We haven't defended our box well enough. There's been too many mistakes in them areas. But when you have so much control of a game, so much of the ball, you have more shots than the opposition. We've conceded the least shots against us. The least shots against us in any league in England. So fundamentally, there's nothing wrong. We have to defend certain situations better, and we have to make sure we put the ball in the back of the net and be more clinical and be more ruthless, because we just haven't given ourselves a head start in any game. We haven't to come back from 1-0 down nearly every week, which is crazy. It's madness. So that has to change. That's not sustainable. But the rest of it certainly is, and the guys know that. We know that. We have to keep improving. We're nowhere near finished or nowhere near where we can reach in terms of level of performance. And if we carry on doing it and carry on with the process, that we focus on what we're doing and try and improve us, and respecting what the opposition, how they might hurt us, and making sure we're ready for that, then results will come. We have to trust that, and we have to believe in that, and I completely trust him in the people we have here at the club, the players and the staff, to deliver that.
How tough has it been emotionally so far this season?
I'm fairly, as you can probably tell, because I mentioned it enough, but I'm really process driven. So I'm not really, I've been more emotional this season than I probably was last season already, because everyone's so invested in it. So when you have like commitment culture where everyone's just so invested in what we're doing and buys into it 100% and is desperate for it to work, it almost adds its own pressure. So, but we have to make sure that pressure doesn't turn into fear, and we treat it as a privilege, because I feel like the opportunity for this football club and for the players we have and for myself and the staff is huge if we get it right. It really is. There's so much potential here. So, trying to take emotion out of it as much as possible. I feel like we've had to do a hell of a lot structurally because of everything that's gone on in a completely unique circumstance. So that adds its own, emotional baggage, etc. after the period everyone's been through. But I just have to keep reminding myself and reminding everyone why we're doing it, why we are playing the way we are, why we are trying to have the impact on games we are, why we're doing certain things day to day, why we work so hard. And when they see that, when they see the why, it's much easier to work in that environment. So we have to try and take it as much of that out of it as we can. And that's my job, is to make everyone feel relaxed, but also relaxed enough to perform, but also to know what the standards are and what's demanded of them.
There are less than 48 hours to go, which means there's only one more opportunity for me to ask you about transfers for the time being, which I'm sure you'll be very relieved at. But how's everything going in the window? And are you still looking for a centre forward, having brought in Cameron Jerome last week?
No, I think obviously bringing Cammy in, really pleased with that. We were looking for a centre forward. He'll be fantastic for us. Already what he's added on the training pitch. He's so dynamic still, so full of energy, loud, confident. Already talking, to Sam, Colton, Joe, Jay, about, the other strikers about certain bits and pieces that will help them. So he's going to be fantastic for us, no doubt about it. And he's got a brilliant goal record in the division higher than ours. So I really do feel he'd be great. We're not actively, because of the situation, the financial situation, how much it's changed, we're not actively looking for something. I'm really happy with what we've got. But I've learned really quickly that something always comes up. So we'll have to... we will be ready for anything that does come up, and we are, fantastic that the chairman and Andy are still willing to do something if it's right for the football club. But we're not actively searching, but we're getting a lot of names thrown at us now all of a sudden, which is what happens, which is crazy. But that's football, and it's the nature of the transfer window. So we'll have to wait and see if any come up that really suit us. Then obviously we'll be open to that. But at the minute, I think that's probably us done.
You mentioned, you're not really big on stats, but we see a lot of the possession stats that you're high up in all of the standings and all of that sort of stuff. Do you think that's made a lot of teams sit up and pay attention to MK Dons and maybe say, we want to send our players to you?
Possibly, yeah. I think it makes it harder for us with the opposition. I think, I don't know. Listen, we're not. I think we're quite aggressive with the ball. I don't think we're slow. I don't think we just have possession for possession's sake. I think whenever you British football's really different to a lot of other cultures. So whenever you try and play a certain way, it sort of puts you there to be knocked down, and teams are really desperate to beat you and fight against that. And especially in the league we're in. So that's the reality. People think we don't have players good enough to do that. People think we shouldn't. It's not the way to do it in League One or whatever, which is just people's opinion that's been built up over a long period of time. So we're not the only team trying to do it. There are other teams in the league who play really good stuff, have a lot of possession, but we're trying to do it with real purpose and real intensity. And as I said, it's not easy to achieve what the boys are doing on the ball, but ultimately it doesn't count for enough if we don't win games. But I feel having the ball that much in a game gives us a huge chance of a good result if you're in control that much. And it's about limiting teams to even less chances now, and making sure when they do get one that we make it as hard as possible for them to score.
Karl Morris, I thought, probably had his best game of the season on Saturday. How much has he improved since you took him in January? And just how good can he be?
He was brilliant. He done it. He was fantastic, linking the game, driving the team on. So brings other people into play so well, and I thought you saw him and Scotty really developing. Scotty Fraser, a real connection on the pitch. But we just need to keep getting him. He does so much good work outside the box, and for the team, we need to make sure he's in the box when the moment really counts for him to score more goals. Because I think Carlton, as a young guy, was. I think he felt his career was going one way, and he would end up where he deserves to be, ability-wise. There's no doubt he's fantastic. He could play at the highest level with the ability he has, and then he has injuries, and then he gets caught in between. He goes on a couple of loans, and he gets asked to do different things. And I think he's just finding himself again as a player. I think he's been asked to do certain things. We're asking him to do something different than what he's been asked to do for a while. But he's a fantastic footballer. He can do it, and now it's about making sure he's mentally focused and present for every single second of the game. And if he does, he'll end up scoring a lot of goals because he has so much ability. So he knows that. Unfortunately, strikers are judged by goals, not about what they bring to the team, and we all know how much he brings. He's so well loved by everyone in the building that I'm just desperate for him to score more because he deserves it. So he knows that. We'll keep working on him. We'll keep improving him. I feel he's improved a lot in a short space of time. In terms of as a leader and on the pitch as well. And he needs to continue to do that, and we need to make sure we keep getting chances. And when we do, it's up to him to make sure he's in the right position to do it. And as I said, I really think Cammy Jerome coming in is going to really, really help Carlton as well. He knew Carlton as a young player at Norwich. They've got a good relationship already, and he's going to really help him with certain bits.
Gillingham this weekend. I suppose you know what you're going to get from Gillingham. Their style is pretty set in stone, isn't it?
Yeah, I played against Steve's teams over the years. Watched a fair bit of Gillingham. I played against them last year. They're really good at what they do. They're really, really good. So, and he's always had success as a manager with his team. They completely buy into the way he wants to do things. Aggressive, intense, hard to play against, and that's reflected in their results so far this season. They've started really well. So it's going to be a tough game, no doubt about it. We need to make sure that we try and implement our game plan, but we have to be aware of the threat that they possess, and we have to deal with it properly. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves in a similar position we've been in the last few weeks. So we have to start the game better. There's no doubt about it. We have to start the game better and give ourselves a chance. And we need to try and control it as much as possible, and to avoid giving free kicks away and giving them chances to put the ball in our box, because they are really, really good at it. And as I said, they've got a team that really believe in their identity. So it's different from ours, but it's a really strong identity they've got, and players that really buy into it, which is it's tough to play against. So yeah, really aware of what they're doing, but it's about us, about what we do. It's about making sure we perform week on week and making sure we win the game.
And the last one from me, I mean, it's probably the dumbest question as well. How much would a win mean at this stage now?
Yeah, I think everyone, of course, that first win will help relax everyone. But if you came in the building, you certainly wouldn't look at a team that's feeling pressure of the league position. I've said it's really early days. Guys work so hard, so it's not affecting us. But of course, we want to get that win early because we want to give ourselves a chance to progress and move up the league quickly. 100% confident we will finish nowhere near where we are now. That's how I feel about it. That's how the players feel. That's how the staff feel. So we need to make sure we justify that confidence and belief in what we're doing by winning games, and it has to happen quickly. And the players are aware of that. So no better place to start than Saturday, hopefully.